So ridiculous. I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I just want to do a general life update rather than a specific carnivore diet update, although it is related to the carnivore diet. I've been avoiding making this video because it doesn't feel real, but then I mentioned it in an interview that I did recently with Dave Mack on his channel Zero Carb Life. So I decided that I might as well explain what's going on. Ant and I have decided that we are going to sell up the mountain cabin and move to Galicia, which is about 3 hours down the road. It's another rural area, but it's not so mountainous. It's more rolling hills, and it's just as beautiful, but in a very different way. And the reason we're moving is because, for many reasons actually, but the thing that's driving our excitement is that the place we're moving to is a farmhouse with a couple of acres of land, which is flat land. So it means that we can more easily raise our own animals and live a sustainable life. We also want to maybe set up an ecotourism business, and we're also setting up a mushroom growing business. So we have lots and lots of ideas, all of which become much more realistic if we do this, if we make this move. It's actually more isolated where we're going to. It's funny, we're commenting it's here, it's not so, it feels not so much isolated, just more inaccessible. But if you, at night time, when you look around the views, you see just how many villages there are around. It's quite highly populated around here on the mountain, and there's more people than you'd think walking around on the mountain tracks. Hunters, farmers, hikers. It's actually quite busy. But in Galicia, that's the chickens. What's wrong? I've got 2 chickens that keep breaking out of the garden, the Dora the Explorer chickens, and they're a bit of a problem at the moment. Anyway, so yeah, Galicia, it actually feels more remote, yet it's also more accessible. So on a number of levels, it makes logistics a lot easier. And the other thing is, this cabana is pretty small. It's really only comfortable for a single person. And I also have a small village house, which I bought when I first moved here, very, very cheaply, in order to renovate it, because I needed to have an official address in Spain in order to apply for residency. And a cabana cannot be an official residence. You're not supposed to live here full time, but lots of people do it. But technically it's a hunter's cabin, so it's not an official residence. So therefore I have a tiny little village house, and that's where Ant basically lives. So I live in the cabana and Ant lives in the village house, and we move between the 2 houses. And it's not really comfortable for me and Ant to live in the same house, because the cabana is just one big open space, and I have the 2 dogs and the 2 cats that just are constantly around, night or day, and Ant struggles to sleep. He's one of those people who really struggles to sleep. So it's an ongoing issue which we will be able to resolve by moving to Galicia. We're going to move into this farmhouse and renovate it, and we'll be able to live together in the same building, which I can't wait for. I'm really looking forward to that. So it feels good, it feels right. I'm at peace with leaving the cabana. It's been 3 years of my life that I would never change. But I've often said recently that if I could move to Spain again now and start over, I would. Because when I moved here, I was still using mobility aids. You know, I was still on my own, and I felt very much on my own. I was traumatized, I would say, and still struggling to process everything that had happened in England. Plus I was moving from city to not just country, but off-grid, up a mountain. And I was moving when I did, not because I felt ready to move, but because I had to move when I did, because of the Brexit deadline. And if I hadn't moved when I did, I wouldn't have been able to move to Spain, full stop. It was a whirlwind, you know. I was property hunting in the space of a week, and then I bought something, and then I moved, and it just had to be done when it was done. And then literally 2 weeks after I got here, it was the pandemic, and it was very strict here in Spain. It shut down from Friday to Monday. Everything had shut down, and obviously that wasn't just my problem, it was everybody's problem, but it was a weird time to move to a new country, you know, not knowing anybody, not knowing, you know, no shops open to go and buy the basic tools that I needed to get myself started, and it meant that my social integration hasn't really happened in terms of Spanish people, and I'm really conscious of that, and I'm not pleased about that. I have plenty of friends here, don't get me wrong. I do have friends with whom I speak Spanish. Valentina, my wonderful Argentinian friend, a couple of Dutch friends that rather than English we choose to speak in Spanish because they lived in Chile for a couple of decades, and so I do have friends with whom I speak Spanish. But I'm conscious of the fact that Anthony's British, and a lot of the people that I've been mixing with are British. And again, I think that was purely because I moved when I did. It was the pandemic, and it was just that there were no parties. It was harder to find my way around. The Spanish accent as well is very different to the Spanish I'm used to, because I've lived a couple of years in Mexico, and that's the Spanish I'm most comfortable with. But not just that, it's the fact that I'd spent the previous couple of years isolated on the sofa in England, in Birmingham, and not practicing my Spanish. So of course that makes it very rusty. So I just didn't feel as calm and confident as I had done previously in my life when I've lived abroad. Not to mention the fact I was using mobility aids when I first got here. It just was, integration just didn't happen in the way that it usually has when I've lived in Spain or Mexico. I feel much better now. I feel much physically stronger, mentally stronger. My Spanish, I've got used to how to live in a remote rural area with the particular accent that they have here. I've come to feel much more comfortable, and that I could handle it now if I moved here for the first time. So this gives that opportunity to move somewhere new, not on my own, not in a state of ill health, having come to grips with rural life in Spain, and not during the pandemic, and with my residency sorted. And that feels like a golden opportunity that I'm super excited about. And all I'm leaving behind really are beautiful views, but the views in Galicia are just as beautiful, they're just different. So many reasons to move. But there's also been reasons to move which I don't really want to go into in too much detail, but I've had issues with the British expat community here. So as I mentioned, I ended up fraternising with my compatriots, which I never would have normally done. And what I didn't realise is that this part of Asturias is actually a bit of an expat corridor. There's a high number of British expats, and I've just found them to be very gossipy, and I've actually had some malicious gossip go around, and it's been quite upsetting. It's actually so ridiculous. I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say. I have actually been ganged up on and accused of murdering Anthony, in all seriousness. That's what happened. That happened back in August. He went offline for a couple of weeks. He had some health troubles, quite serious ones, and he put his phone off and he went off social media for a couple of weeks, and he was in the village house and I was there looking after him the whole time. He was available by email. I was telling people he's ill, that's why he's not around. And for whatever reason, it's really just one person actually. It's just this one particular person who's got a problem with me because she feels that I've rejected her friendship. So she can't let that go. And she's turned nasty and she's started interfering in my life. And it seems like every time it's going to blow over, it just carries on. So the murder accusation happened and I thought, well, that's got to be the end of it. You know, this is so ludicrous, especially when it turned out that Ant wasn't dead. I just thought that would be the end of it and that people would just realise what an absolute idiot she's being. But people are taking her seriously, and the latest thing is that she's now spreading around that Anthony's planning to murder me. So it's switched from I'm the murderer to now Anthony's the murderer. So okay, she wasn't the murderer, but some murder's involved somehow. I just thought people were going to go, are you know, this girl needs to be sectioned, but actually she's trying to get a hold of people back in England. She's trying to contact my dad. It's relentless. It's utterly malicious, and I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to live here anymore when I've got somebody who, for the space of a year, has been persecuting me, and I just don't, this isn't what I moved here for. I don't want to mix with the British expat community at all, ever again. When we moved to Galicia, we're doing it all differently. But yeah, I don't know if it's the right thing to do to talk about it on my YouTube channel, but it's been going on since before I went carnivore. And what's really upsetting is that the gossip going around, the new gossip that Anthony's going to kill me, is rooted in the fact that I am weak and vulnerable and gullible. So that's what's going around. When the truth is, as you guys all know, I'm absolutely back to my strengths again. I'm stronger than I've been in nearly a decade. And I'm happier than I've been in nearly a decade. We're just tired. I'm worn down by it and sad, and but I'm at peace with the situation, because, you know, crazy things happen for a reason, and I kind of feel like it's the universe saying, look, your time on the mountain was a massive challenge, but look what it did for you, and now it's time to move on, and your dreams have evolved and you're moving to better times. So that's what I feel like the universe is saying. I feel good about it. To be honest, I was more upset at the beginning when people believed that I was capable of murdering Anthony. That was probably one of the worst moments of my life, realising that was what this large group of people thought was possible. But now that those same people think it's possible that Anthony's the one that's murdering me, I just think, oh, you idiots. You absolute fools. How can you take her seriously? Like, now it's on you. I really feel like the people they're flying monkeys, just whatever. I didn't want to talk about it. I'm talking about it. It's been so ludicrous and so draining that it's just time to leave it behind and be happy again. It's time to be happy again. Like, this is I'm not doing all of this just to be flipping stressed about some idiot who has got Hollywood movies playing in her head and just inventing things. She literally was saying that Ant was holding me hostage in the village house. Holding me hostage. I mean, so anyway, it was Ant's birthday yesterday. We had a lovely day. I really believe that Galicia is going to be an opportunity to really dive into a homesteading off-grid life. And what we want to do there is bring community to us. Yeah. So we've got we are literally obsessed with our plans. We are so excited. We just cannot wait to get there. We're just waiting for the lawyers to check through some paperwork, and we're good to go. And you know, the friends that we have here in Asturias, we're just down the road, so we'll still be in touch with them all, and we'll still be able to come back, and we'll have the village house still, so we'll have somewhere to stay in Asturias. The village house is up in the mountains as well, so it's just, you know, there's no loss. We're not even losing the mountains. So yeah, that's our life update. We are moving, and we are going to vlog it all. We're going to vlog it all. We've got a big farmhouse to renovate. We've got loads of farming plans, a campsite that we want to set up. We're really looking forward to sharing our journey with you guys, and I hope you guys will not mind that it's not in the cabana anymore. So that's that, really. I don't know how. I will keep trying to do weekly videos. Obviously, with houses on the market and an impending move, it's all a bit frantic. But it's all good, and I will try to keep giving carnivore updates. As a general health update, doing good. It's all great. I'm feeling fantastic. So hope you guys are doing well, and I will give proper carnivore updates on the topic of cholesterol next week. Okay, bye.